Caitlin Clark, the face of women's basketball, the WNBA ticket to mainstream relevancy, is out not just now for the season, not just nursing an injury. She's leaving enough for rehab, not a rest for Europe. Let that sink in. The one player who carried the WNBA on her back while getting elbowed, shoved, and hammered on every possession is pack your bags and heading overseas. And with that announcement, if you're here for the real story and not to filter version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe. The league's foundation dinges. Crack it crumbled. Let's call this what it is, a full-blown crisis. Because Caitlin Clark's departure isn't just a transfer, is a statement. It might drop. And it's saying one very clear thing: I'm not protected here, I'm not respected here, so I'm done. And honestly, can you blame her? From the moment she was drafted, Caitlin was treated like a lottery ticket. Not a player, not a person, an investment. The WNBA, one of the buzz, the headlines, the sold-out games. And they got it, they got all of it, but the price it came due fast way. Week after week, game after game, she was getting hit like a tackling dummy. The refs swallow their whistles, the lead play dumb, and everyone kept asking the same question. When some of it to step in, spoiler alert, no one did. Instead, Clark was expected to take it, smile through it, be the good soldier, because behind the scenes the numbers were too good to mess with. Ratings were up, merge was flying, and as long as you stayed on floor bruised, battered, and exhausted, everything was working. But then the injuries started piling up. First a knock here, then a tweak there, then something worse, and still the lead in nothing. No changes to officiating, no public statements, no protection, until finally it was too late. And now she's head to Europe, where ironically the systems in place for player health, recovery, and get this, officiating standards are better than what she just left behind. Europe, of all places, understood assignment. Let's just pause and appreciate the absurdity here. The WNBA had everything they ever asked for. Caitlin Clark was a golden goose, the walking highlight reel, the player who brought fan and by the millions, and they fumbled it hard. You want to know how badly they blew this? Look at the fans. The very people who use a shout the league's praises are now protesting outside arenas, canceling subscriptions, burning jerseys. Not in a cute dramatic way, in a genuinely furious way. Because it's not just about Clark leaving, it's about why she left. It's about the tackles that weren't called, the sneaky shots of the ribs, the way every fell against became a controversy instead of just a foul. It's about watching your favorite player get picked apart game after game while the lead shrugs like, well, it's physical basketball. No, it's bad officiating. It's a systemic failure. And Caitlin Clark just made the strongest statement possible by doing the one thing league dodgy never would walk away. Now let's talk about the year Bengal for a second. Some people already trying to spin it. Oh, it's just temporary. She'll be back in 2026. This is good for her development. Please, this isn't some off-season vacation. This is escape. This is, in all caps, I'm out, from someone who clearly had options and chose one that didn't involve being hacked in front of sold-out crowd, while the rare if stare into the void. And let's be real, Europe will treat her better. The training is rigorous but smarter, the Pacers competitive but strategic. The crowd may be smaller, but the respect, it's there to get the minute. She wants the safety she needs and the chance to heal physically, mentally, mostly heal from the absolute circus that the WNBA turned into. Meanwhile, back in the States, panic mode. Executives are sweating. Broadcasters, are we writing scripts? Sponsors or backpedaling so fast they're practically do the moonwalk. Because without Clark, what does the WNBA have now? A lot, at least not aware they sold it. And that's the most devastating part. They had other stars, they still do, but they never build them up, never gave him the spotlight. They were too busy riding Clark wave. And now that the tide's out, they're stuck in sand, wondering what happened to you. On metaphor, the WNBA treated Caitlin Clark like an iPhone launch, all flash, all marketing, all hype, but underneath the infrastructure was cracked, and now it's glitchy bad. There's no backup plan, no face of the league, no redemption arc teed up, just a bunch of angry fans and frustrated players, and a very expensive reminder that star power only works when you protect the star. This is where we hang out. A fake award, most avoidable meltdown and professional sports. Goes the WNBA for watching a once-in-a-generation player walk away on purpose and acting shocked when fans walk with her. And let's be clear, Clark didn't leave because she's weak. She left because she's smart. She left because she saw the writing on a wall and said they don't care enough to fix this. So now the league has a choice. They can scramble for a patch job, try to promote someone else, rework the marketing, spin this as exciting international experience, or they can face the truth. The system is broken, the officiating is inconsistent, the league's priorities are skewed, and unless those things change, this won't be the last departure. The star of the show is lighting up somewhere else across the ocean with better officiating, better facilities, better protection. And here's the kicker: more respect. Clark choosing to leave the WNBA for Europe is a bigger middle finger to league than any angry tweet or post-game soundbite ever could be. Is not just about money, is not just about safety, it's about principle. She gave WNBA everything: her name, her body, her buzz. She took its literal and figurative. So the league and have a moment, and instead of protecting her legs, bloated her. So now she's in quiet part out loud, not with a rant, not with a press conference, but with her feet, by walking, by leaving. And it's not just an exit, it's a verdict: guilty of neglect, of incompetence, of arrogance. Was wild is how the league is still in denial, like some walk into a burning building saying it's just a little warm. They're out here posing inspirational Instagram rules and game day graphics like nothing's changed, when everything has. You lost your draw, your story, your revenue driver. And the only real question is, would you lie? Learn, because of the answer is nothing. Buckle up. The WNBA isn't just at risk of losing fans, is at risk of losing relevance. Let's talk about trust for a second, because that's what this whole thing hinges on. Fans don't just follow players because of stats. They follow because they believe system will protect their favorite, that greatness will be rewarded, that heart hustle and highlights will be met with support and safety. But Clark's story broke that illusion. Fans watched to get battered. They watched refs ignore it. They watched the legal radio silent. And then they watch her walk away. So now the narrative has shifted. It's no longer the league is finally having a moment. It's the lead blew it. And it's not just Clark's fans feeling. It's everyone: the casuals, the die-hards, the players, the brands. Let's not forget the brand sponsorship for flowing like champagne during Clark Mania. Suddenly the WNBA front row bars crossover attention. Super Bowl level advice. But now the calls are getting quieter, the emails are more. Circle back next fiscal quarter, because no brand want to be caught propping a believe that camp protected stars is the same with broadcasters. You think networks are thrilled about airing lead without his main attraction? Please. They were sold on Caitlyn. They scheduled around Caitlyn. Now they're stuck showing match up with half the viewership and none of the narrative glue. And if you think the broadcasters aren't panicking in quiet conference rooms trying to renegotiate contract terms, you haven't been paying attention. Here's the part that really hits home though. Clark want to make it work here. She didn't come into the WNBA with an ego. She played hard. She answered the media. She embraced the league. She was one those I'm bigger than the game personalities. And still she was let down. That's what stings. This wasn't someone with diva demands or outrageous expectations. She just wanted to play safely, fairly, competitively, and she couldn't even get that. So now she's in a league that values her and way the WNBA only pretended to. And the worst part, the spin is already starting. Oh, it's not a permit to pay. Archer, she'll be back. This is just part of global basketball culture. She's grown the game internationally. Spare us. This isn't a victory lap. It's an escape, and everyone pretending otherwise is doing PR gymnastics so intense they should win a gold medal in Olympic. Delusion less to another fake award, because honestly the script deserves it. Most impressive gaslight attempt by professional league goes to drum Mro. The WNBA for acting like their biggest are leaving the country in the middle of financial interest crisis is somehow fine. Bravo, take a bow and maybe take notes, because of this is your damage control plan. You're going to need a bigger mop. Now let's talk ripple effects. Clark leaving doesn't just damage the WNBA, it puts every women's sports league on alert, because this isn't happening in a vacuum. This is a warning shot. If the lead been the spotlight on the rise with the most media attention still can't protected stars, what is that? Said athletes in less visible leagues. The message is clear: you are on your own. And let me tell you, players are listening. The next big college star, she's taking notes. The next draft class, they're having serious talk for their agents about overseas options before they even shake hands with a GM. And veterans who've been grinding in the league for years, they're wondering if they should have dipped a long time ago. Because of this can happen. A Caitlin Clark who's safe nobody. And yet in the middle of all this chaos, there's something kind of poetic about how Clark exited. She and throw chairs. She didn't curse out the ref. She didn't flame the league on social media. She made a move. Strategic, calculated, clear. And somehow that made a hit harder. It was power. And it's quiet as form. And now that silence, it's louder than any dunk, buzzer beater, or post-game interview, because it says, I don't need this league to thrive. But this league needs we survive. Let's take a breath. Where does the WNBA go from here? The real answer, it depends, because this could be the start, a revolution, or the beginning of the end. The league has a window, a very small, rapidly closing window to step up and take accountability. That means real reform, transfer, air and officiating changes, public commitments to player safety, leadership shakeups if necessary, not just in vague statements, but in visible, tangible action. Fans or receipts now, they don't want PR, they want policy, and if the league can't deliver, well, they've already seen what happens. Players walk, fans walk, and all that hard-earned visibility gone. So yeah, Caitlin Clark's gone for now. But the story's not over, it's just shifted locations, and the real question isn't whether she'll come back, it's whether the WNBA would deserve her when she does. You made it this far. I know this one was brutal, but it's real, and it matters because of women's sports have been grow. It has to start with respecting the athletes, not just hyping them up, not as profiting off their charisma, but actually doing the work to protect them. Because now the floodgates are open. Other players, especially rookies, and rising stars are watching. They're asking the same questions Clark probably asked yourself. Do they have my back? Am I safe here? What happens when I'm the one getting hit? And if the answers don't change, the exodus will. Clark's announcement was a shockwave, but the aftershocks, they're going to hit harder. TV deals will get shaky, sponsors will ask for performance clauses, attendance will keep sliding, and illegal be left wondering why their golden era lasted exactly one season. But here's the thing, it didn't have to be like this. Clark departure could have been avoided if the league had stepped up, if the officiating had been fair, if leadership had focused on player safety instead of PR. Glass, they had every chance to get it right, and they blew it. Now the league's in the middle of its oops arc, scrambling to post highlight reels of other players issuing vague promises about reviewing officiating standards, pretending this isn't a basketball equivalent of your star quarterback transferring to a rival school because he's tired of getting sacked every play. But the fans know, the players know, we know this isn't just about Caitlin Clark leaving the WNBA. This is about what our leaving represents, a system that failing the very people it claims to elevate, a league that mistook exposure for infrastructure, a warning shot every sports organization that thinks star power means they can skip basics. So yeah, she's gone on for now, but maybe this is the wake-up call the WNBA needed. Maybe this is the push to finally get serious about officiating, about protection, about accountability. Because if they don't, this league's when keep hemorrhaging trust, and no amount of branding can fix that. So what's your take? The case Caitlin make the right move? Will she ever come back? And is the WNBA even ready for a comeback? If she does, drop your thoughts in the comments, because this isn't just a plot twist, it's a whole new chapter. And if you're here for the drama, the fallout, the chaos, go ahead and hit subscribe, because the Caitlin Clark saga just went global, and the WNBA, they're still trying to pick up the pieces. Caitlin Clark, American basketball golden ticket, has officially hit exit stage left, and the WNBA, they're still backstage scrambling to take the curtain back up like the show's not already over. But let's not get it twisted. This isn't just a story about one star walking away. This is about the structure. She walked away from a system that smiled interface and cashed checks. But when it came time, protector crickets. The truth is, this whole situation feels like a breakup, not the dramatic tear fill movie kind. No, this is a slow burn kind. You've been ignoring the red flags for too long, and now she's go see you in mood. Italy kind. Clark gave everything she had to this league, her time or town, her image, her body, and in return she got hacked across the arm area. Possession toss flew like a rag doll and gaslit by a ref squad and seemed to forget how whistles work whenever she had the hardwood. And don't come at us with that's just how pro basketball is. Stop. We've seen what physical means. We've seen hard for games. This wasn't that. This was targeted, relentless, and completely unchecked. It wasn't tough defense. It was a hit list. But it really broke fans. The silence. The league had every opportunity to say something, to acknowledge it, to act like they gave a damn. But instead it was all smiles and promo reels. Look, Caitlyn on another magazine cover. Yet cool. Meanwhile, she's living off the court. While your tweet about empowerment doesn't mean putting your stars and for a moving train and saying be strong. It means stepping in front of that train with them. But they didn't. They left her out there game after game getting knocked around like have been yada, while the league played damage control and the refs pretended they left their glasses at home. And now she's gone off to Europe, where the officiating is tighter, the physicality regulate it, and shocker player safety is taken seriously. Let's be clear, clocked and leave because she couldn't hack it. She left because she didn't have to. Why stick around in a lead that exploits you, ignores your injuries, and treat your pain as part of PR package? Why keep sacrificing your body when their leagues will pay you, will protect you better, and let you play without being blindsided by forum shiver every time you cross half court? She's not weak, she's smart, she knows her worth, and more importantly, she knows the difference between a system that supports you and one that sells you. And the WNBA, they were doing a lot of selling Caitlyn on every billboard, Caitlyn in every commercial, Caitlyn on the cover of every streaming app preview screen. But when she got thrown to the ground with no call, officiating is objective, sure, so is respect, and she just chose to go. Where's now? To debate now the dominoes start to fall. If the biggest name in the leagues is peace out, we think that signals that a wrestler roster to the incoming college stars to international prospect debating where to build their careers. It says don't get too comfortable. It says there's a ceiling year and is now, not just on salary. And while the WNBA is out here trying to plug the league with motivational tweet and replays of last year's highlights, fans are pulling the receipts. Remember, the body checks the flag, or no, cause the games where Clark was targeted like it was open season. Because we remember, and we're not buying revisionist history the league is trying to sell now. This whole debacle could have been avoided at any point. Your ship could have stepped in and made an example out of the blatant physical targeting. They could have addressed the officiating. They could have bare minimum acknowledged a problem. But they didn't because they thought Clark would just keep showing up, that she keep grinding, keep smiling, keeping their posts a girl on the matter what they put her through. And that right there is a fatal miscalculation, because you can build an empire on one person and an act surprise when she gets tired whole and the whole thing up, especially when you're not even reinforcing the structure. You just kept piling weight on her shoulders. So now what? The WNBA is facing a reckoning, a crossroad moment. The script has been ripped up, and there's no new one waiting in the wings. All the pre-draft Caitlyn comeback season promos useless. All the partnerships that were contingent on are playing gone. All the new fans who finally started watching women's basketball vanished, or at the very least disillusioned, because for a lot of them Clark was the entry point, the spark, and now they're looking around, see what happened to her, and asking why would I stick around? And here's with emotional damage comes in, not just for fans, but for the sport. This was supposed to be the era, the turning point. Clark was supposed to be the bridge between the niche and the mainstream, the living proof that women's sports we command ratings, headlines, and sold out arenas. And she was, but that kind of cultural capital is fragile, mishandled at once, and the whole thing implodes. Right now you got fans organizing boycotts, sponsors asking for reassessments, broadcast is quietly adjusting their expectations, players, actual WNBA players calling out the officiating publicly for the first time in forever, the houses, and just shaking, it's on fire, and the people who were so posed behold knows they're still posing for press photos. So here's the uncomfortable question, is his league actually ready for its own success? Because so far the answer feels like a resounding no. They want the ratings without the responsibility. They wanted the star power without the sacrifice. They wanted the buy, but without doing the work to build a system that could sustain that buzz And now that the bus you started ever had has dipped, it's a brutal lesson in what happens when you mistake attention for foundation. Let's hit the fake awards one last time, shall we? Best self-sabotage by professional sports league goes to you already know the WNBA for turning a once-in-a-generation moment into a cautionary tale about what happens when you chase bag but ignore the bruises. So what now? That's the question nobody seems ready to answer, because there's no quick fix, no single player who can walk in and replace the force that is Caitlin Clark. No PR campaign is going to distract people from the fact that she left. What the WNBA does have is an opportunity, a hard one, an ugly one, but still a chance to take accountability, to fix the officiating, to finally prioritize player safety and long-term sustainability of viral highlights and quick cash to prove they're not as using their stars, they're building with them. But that only works if they stop pretending everything's fine, because it's not. The illusion is broken, the fans are watching, and the league is on the clock. Tick, tick, tick. So what's your take? Dick Clark made the right call, kinda. WNBA actually rebound from this? Or is this the beginning of the long, painful unraveling? Sound off in the comments. Tell me your theory, your age, your hope. I want to hear everything. And if you are more sports chaos, star walkout, and PR meltdown sagas like this one hit that sucks,